Ironfist is an incredibly powerful character, and I wanted to make sure to cover his mystic abilities, so I've got some key areas that I'm going to focus on. First of all are the extreme martial arts skills that he's capable of. Even outside of using his ki, he is able to keep up with the likes of Daredevil and Captain America on a physical level. Then there's the Iron Fist itself, something that I will create a homebrew ability for, which I'll cover later on. Finally, Danny has a sort of mastery over his body, being able to do things like control his heart rate and perform self-healing, which I would like to feature somewhere. For race, we will of course be choosing human, which gives an increase to 2 abilities, as well as a feat and a skill, which I will cover later on. The class choice is going to be pretty straightforward on this one. We're putting everything into monk. I've built the character to be level 6, but you can scale as you wish, and I've created a few homebrew abilities that you can use at various levels. As a monk, we get unarmoured defence, which will of course be useful for a character that famously fights shirtless, and we have martial arts to buff unarmed strikes. Then we have some basic key abilities with Flurry of Blows, Patient Defence, and Step of the Wind, as well as unarmoured movement, which gives increased movement speed. Deflect missiles allows us to catch ranged attack weapons and throw them back, which is something Ironfist is able to do, even being able to catch a bullet at one point. We also have Slow Fall and Extra Attack, which are always useful, then Stunning Strike, which allows us to disorient opponents. Then we have the passive ability Ki Empowered Strikes, which makes all of our unarmed strikes count as magical, much like the Iron Fist strike would. Finally, we have the monastic tradition, for which I chose the Way of the Open Hand, which buffs Flurry of Blows and gives the ability Wholeness of Body, which matches the healing abilities of Ironfist that I mentioned earlier. I've also created a couple of homebrew abilities to help the build feel more like Ironfist when being played. The first of which is a key ability given at 2nd level called the Iron Fist, which allows you to buff an unarmed strike made with the attack action. You are allowed to spend as much ki as you wish on a single strike, and each ki spent adds an additional dice equal to your martial arts damage onto the attack. So for example, at level 6 you have 6 ki to spend, meaning you could add an extra d6 to 6 individual attacks, or deal 7 d6 in a single powerful strike. This ability only works on attacks made as an action, not as a bonus action, and you must declare how much ki you are spending before you find out whether or not the attack hits. The second ability is for level 5 and is called Self-Control. Once per short rest, you may slow your heart rate and breathing to be more stealthy, giving you an advantage in stealth checks against targets that can't see or smell you. It also doesn't protect against any magical detection. This is based on a time in the comics when Danny Rand used this trick in order to fight Daredevil. Finally, I've made a level 14 ability that sort of buffs the Iron Fist ability, called the Ki Shockwave. You may use your Iron Fist strike as normal by spending a number of ki points, but instead you will be targeting the ground. Doing so causes the attack to affect everything within a 30-foot radius, plus 10 feet for each ki point spent. This is the ability I made to try and replicate the power the fist has, supposedly being on a similar level as a nuclear bomb. I tried to dial it back a bit. The actual Iron Fist is capable of levelling entire cities, but that seemed a bit too powerful to give to a character. For equipment, it doesn't really matter what we take, as we will be fighting barehanded, but I took the short sword and the Explorer's Pack. Then for ability scores, the focus should be Dexterity and Wisdom to buff our attacks and armour, then Strength mainly for skills, and Constitution for health. Finally, Charisma and Intelligence won't be as important. There are a lot of backgrounds that could fit Danny's story. Noble, folk hero, hermit, and soldier are all potential choices, but I went for Acolyte to represent the character's connection to the monks of Kun-lun. For alignment, there are a few that could be used to represent Danny, depending on which storyline you are focusing on, but I went for neutral good. For skills, we will start with Insight and Religion from our Acolyte background. Then, as a monk, we gain 2 more, for which I took Acrobatics and Stealth. Then, as a human, we get to select a final skill, and I took Athletics. As a human, we also get a feat, as well as some more from our ability score increases. I would recommend choosing Tough for the health increase, and maybe Athlete for the climbing bonus, but I think the ability score increases are better used on your dexterity. And that's the build done. The character sheet is available in the description, and there's a playlist of the other Marvel characters in there as well. If there's a particular character that you'd like to see me make a build for, be sure to let me know in the comments.